with Noel Webb. I am Noel Webb this week, and it is October 5th, 2011. A very cool show today with Paula Edelstein and Stanley Clarke, both here talking to you. Very special. You can get the CD soundsoftimelessjazz.com on that particular site. I just mentioned it. And here is Paula Edelstein interviewing Stanley Clarke.
Thank you, Noel. Stanley Clarke has his axes together on his new Heads Up International recording called The Toys of Men. Stanley is one of the most innovative bass players, composers, and educators of the past 3 decades.
In keeping with your tradition of evolution, innovation, and education, The Toys of Men is definitely one of your best recordings to date. And so let's start with a brief background of how the project came about. Could you tell us a little about this?
Well, this time I decided to make a record with I tried to have the same individuals play on as many tracks as possible. In the past, some records I've had, I'd have different drummers, different guitar players, etc., etc. This time I have basically, the nucleus of the record has been with myself, a 23-year-old drummer, Ronald Brunner, from the States here, a Danish violinist, Mass Tolling, he's 26 now, and then an Israeli piano player, 25, named Ruslan Sirota. And then everything else surrounded that were just sort of musicians and other elements that I needed to sort of do what I wanted to do. And so, it started with that. As far as this is concerned, I'd say the nucleus piece of music is the first song, The Toys of Men. Actually, originally I thought I was going to just have it close the album, but all the young fellows in the band Stanley should open up with that, just like go straight out, because we put a lot of effort in it. We did a lot of not just musically. I was trying to, it's difficult when you're a instrumental musician that you don't deal with a lot of vocals and lyrics and all those kind of things. It's difficult sometimes to bring out, exactly what you're thinking, like the psychology behind a piece of music. And I've been, like most people in this country, even around the world, have been very conscious of, the state of things in the world. And so I just took a little slice of some of the issues, and I sort of just came up with this idea, The Toys of Men, And the piece goes through about 5 or 6 different movements, and they're kind of self-explanatory, and it was a bit of a challenge to get all these things together and still have the piece feel linear, and it really basically, it starts very bleak and ends very hopeful, and then at the very, very end, it's kind of a little taste of, we're not quite sure it's really never going to be that hopeful, but, maybe eventually it will be, and so, it was a lot of fun, and so that was that piece took a lot to put together. There's some other things on the album that are really different from things I've done in the past, which I'm...
Well, you really end that suite with a positive vibe with the opening of the gates and God Light, and it certainly wraps the listener within a positive atmosphere of the, images that were created and associated with war and destruction in the earlier part of the suite. Did you get everything you wanted from your music, and what do you want the listener to get from this particular suite?
Well, the thing that I like about the album in general is this. I'm going to sort of, there's an answer, but I'm going to preface that by saying, in the put on and make it kind of be in the background, and you don't really have to, the listener doesn't really have to commit one way or the other. What I was really trying to do was confront the listener.
Great.
You know, and this is kind of old school, like the way I guess I grew up making records, particularly when I was with Return to Forever. Me and Chick played together, and they weren't records that you could kind of just throw on and sit down and have a glass of wine and look out a window at a mountain in Utah, you know. So, you know, this record, you either have to agree to engage with it or walk away. I mean, there's things on the record, like there's a very nice vocal tune with a girl named Esperanza, very talented bass player, but she happens to sing as well. And, you know, you could listen to that, and that could kind of be a backdrop to, you know, somebody cooking or something like that. But just in general, you know, I wanted to make sure, this was really interesting when I was sequencing the album. I really consciously wanted to just, you know, I would rather a listener, you know, engage and decide, oh, I'm not going to listen to this shit, you know, this is too heavy, or wow, this is interesting, and then, you know, they actually really, really listen to it, you know, and have to have some sort of opinion,
right.
You know, because that's the thing that I think is missing in instrumental music today. There's so much of it that's kind of, it's so homogenized and so similar that, you know, you could put on, like, you know, there's maybe 30 different records made by saxophone players that I mean, I used to really love the saxophone so much, you know, and now, you know, you turn on the radio, they all sound so similar, kind of maybe following the Kenny G mode or the Dave Koz mode or whatever, and it's, you know, I just wanted to really get away from that, and wasn't thinking so much of record sales or anything. I don't really care about that stuff. No one's selling records, so that's actually kind of nice. That, you know, no one's selling records. So I tell a lot of my smooth jazz buddies, I say, man, you know, why are you going to bust your ass to make a smooth jazz record now, man? It's never going to sell. Anyway, just, you know, get out there, man. Get a couple animals and start screaming in the studio. Make an avant-garde record, something, anything, you know.
That's for sure. Well, I tell you, Jerusalem is a very gentle track. It has a beautiful melody, and it really has transcended that unrest that plagued the city.
Which track?
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem, yes.
Yeah, and I noticed you're playing the Victor Bailey model acoustic bass guitar. What are some of the particular instruments, qualities, and why did you choose this particular instrument to convey the song's ideas?
Well, you know, that bass, the acoustic bass guitar is something that's not very widely recorded. It's usually, a lot of guys, bass players particularly, have them as practice instruments. They're bass guitars, but they're acoustic. And they have pickups, but they're very difficult to get sounds on, and a lot of guys really don't record with those things. And I just wanted to move that instrument forward and put it, I really took a lot of time to get the right sound on it, and then I exposed it in a way melodically, obviously. It sits right out there, and it's a beautiful, you know, that instrument that Victor Bailey put together. To me, it's the best one that's out there of that type of bass, and it's a beautiful instrument. And you know, Victor was gassed. I brought it to New York to play on a gig, and he came by the gig, and I told him it was a great instrument. You know, you know, and he was just so surprised that I liked it. You know, so
wonderful.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and you've actually invented several instruments, including the piccolo bass and the tenor bass. And how do these instruments differ from each other with respect to the tuning, and how they have enabled you to extend your range as a bass player?
Well, this Victor Bailey acoustic bass is actually, it's a standard tuning, but because of the nature of the sound, it really is a very present instrument. It really sticks out. I think it's one of the reasons why maybe it's not used a lot by a lot of bass players. It really has a real distinctive sound, and it really sticks out. I really like it on that Jerusalem because the melody on that song is very beautiful, and I needed to, there were a lot of ways I could have went. I could have went with other instruments that would have been easier to record the melody, but I chose this thing. I don't know, something of, I just got all struggling on the instrument, getting the sound and with the melody, that kind of melody would struggle, kind of my thoughts on the tune. I've been to Jerusalem, quite a few times. I really liked the city, and it has an amazing history. Everybody and their mother tries to conquer that place, and it's really, the city really has, historically, really has nothing to do with being a city with, just the way it's laid out, the geography, it's probably one of the easiest cities to conquer. It's not really protected much by anything, and so many people have went in there, and it's funny, whenever I go in there, I really feel really nice there. I mean, even though I'm not Jewish or not, but then again, that city, it's, all the different religions are represented there, or have been represented there, and so, when I go there, I just remember one morning, a beautiful morning, I woke up there, and it was like sunset. It was really nice, and that's kind of where I got the idea to get it, and then I was talking to Russ Lennon, and we put the song together. We kind of just put it together right on the spot.
Wow. Now, how many basses do you take to work when you tour?
When I tour lately, it's just been 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used to take, 5, 6, or 7. I don't anymore. I just kind of wrote it down.
Now, what dexterity exercises would you recommend an aspiring bass player to develop that, slap technique that you use?
You mean like what exercises I would advise a young guy to do?
Exactly.
Well, there's so many things out there, DVDs of guys playing, and I would suggest to a guy, if he's young and he wants to learn a particular technique, to first, locate the guy that does that technique, the best or the way he likes it done, and study the DVD. There's so much. That's the beautiful thing about, nowadays, with technology, pretty much, everything is there, and you can just go look at it. That might be the best way to learn that kind of the slap technique. I wouldn't suggest someone try to figure it out through text, like put your thumb here, lift your finger there. I think the best thing is to just go get a video of Marcus Miller, myself, Johnson, Larry Graham. I would probably first go to Larry Graham because he's kind of the granddaddy of that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then move forward, look at my stuff, then look at Marcus, and look at some other guys. Bill Dixon, that's another bass player. He's probably the fanciest guy out there right now. And look at all that, study it, and then get into the notation and how that because that technique is kind of an additive. When you play, you learn how to play the bass like any other instrument. You're going to learn basics and fundamentals, and the slap technique is just going to be part of your arsenal. So it's really something you want to learn how to do it, figure out how to do it, then go back to the basics, and then figure out how to apply that within.
Okay. And speaking of DVDs, you have a 90-minute DVD titled Night School, An Evening with Stanley Clarke and Friends that chronicles your scholarship fund.
Yeah.
Can you tell our readers about your own experiences as a music educator and some of the master classes you've taught or you'll be teaching in the future?
Well, usually every year I do at least one master class in one of the universities. I really enjoy them for a number of reasons. I mean, we get into music, but I'm always fascinated how interested people are into wanting to. Well, their interests are like they want to know what is it like out there, because a kid that's in college, if he's thinking properly, like he knows he's in college, he knows he's learning his instrument, but he also, if he's a guy that's thinking of taking care of a family or, thinking about trying to make money, that's really a quantum leap from being in a college, your parents are paying for whatever, so people really want to know about business. They want to understand about how do you deal with a lawyer, how do you make a record, how do you promote, how do you what is a distributor, what's a royalty, this, and so a large part of my master class is just giving information, and this scholarship, this foundation that I have, I chose a school in Hollywood called Musicians Institute, because the thing that I like about that school is not only do they teach music, but they were one of the first music institutions that I came across that got into some of the other peripheral things that you need, some legal stuff, to teach you how to be an engineer. You fully look at the technology and how that relates to music, and just all the other skills that you need to round yourself out in order to go out in the world as a musician and be effective. And so I think this is our 7th year. We're going to have our event on November the 13th in Hollywood, and this year we're going to do something a little bit different in that I'm not going to bring in any big hotshot musicians to perform. We're going to have some judges there. They're going to come in as judges, and we're going to have the students perform and compete for cash awards.
Wow.
I'm just going to kind of be Santa Claus there with a whole bunch of money. Give out money to kids. And the reason for that is because I remember when I went to school, there were many problems that I had that any teenager had, normal kind of problems, but one of the biggest things that bugged me was I never had money. I needed stuff for the bass, I need a new bass case, or I need this or that. So just having some extra cash was always helpful. I could never make enough money playing in clubs. So we're going to give out some, pretty nice sized cash awards. And I'm just hoping they don't spend it on drugs or alcohol.
Absolutely. Well, that is a wonderful incentive to really get their acts together. And speaking, no pun intended, but and you're always in search of new challenges, and you've really done so many great things over the years in your various groups and formats, including, as you mentioned, with Return to Forever, and of course the Clarke Duke Project, and now with the Rite of Strings.
Well, actually, next year, it's funny, before speaking to you, I was talking to Chick Corea in Shanghai.
Wow.
We're trying to plan for next year. We're really trying to just get all the business stuff together because we've been away from each other for so long. It's a difficult thing to put together. And for me, yesterday it was 50-50. Today it's 70-30. Pro that it's going to happen. So, I think, you're one of the first, and I'm actually mentioning that too, that it would really be nice. So next year, if we do it, and I'm pretty sure we're going to do it, we're going to tour in June, July, and August.
Oh, this is going to be hot. Well, congratulations, because that has been on everybody's mind for many, many years. And would it be Chick and yourself, or the entire art?
Me, Chick, Lenny, and Al.
And
Al.
Fabulous, fabulous. Well, we certainly are going hand in hand with that situation, and congratulations. If there's anything we can do as journalists to keep that buzz going, you can certainly give us a call. Now, I know you're a busy man, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, Stanley.
Okay.
And good luck coming up with the event on the 30th. And,
all right. I'll talk to you real soon, I guess, somewhere.
Okay.
Go to soundsoftimelessjazz.com, www.soundsoftimelessjazz.com. Get more of Paula Edelstein's interviews and books. Please do that. Thank you very much, Paula. Thank you, Stanley. This is ExpandMusic with Noel Webb, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Bye-bye.